Hello, darlings.
Heyo.
We are here with an episode.
Yep, we're doing it.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery Podcast.
I'm Kara.
I'm Megan. I have a story that I have been working on this one for a while just because I kept reading it and I kept
have a couple
quitting,
of those too, yeah.
You know? It's one of these things that I heard about years ago and kind of knew what it was. Look, the camera's crooked. If you're watching the YouTube video, just hold your head a little bit tilted.
Tilt a little.
Till it feels right.
Yeah.
Because I am not getting up again.
Or turn your phone.
Yeah.
Just a smidge.
The main thing is to not notice.
Yeah.
How
Imperfection
crooked it
is beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay. So this episode is, I'm going to, probably going to rant.
Okay, I love it. I'm ready for it.
It delves into politics. We'll try to keep things as unpolitical as we can.
Right.
The climate is so awful.
So muggy.
We all know my political leanings. It doesn't take much. Follow me a little bit on social media and you'll know exactly where I stand.
Somebody will call her out on it.
And I don't mind. We even on this podcast, you can, for the automated ads, like we never really know what automated ads are going to play.
Right.
But we've turned off political ads because I just don't want, even though they pay pretty well, it's like I still don't want.
Yeah, because if you allow one, you have to allow them all.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you can't pick and choose.
I don't want anybody listening to think like, oh, that must mean they support this one or that one.
So I'm not going to listen anymore because
We should all know also, if you've listened to anything we've said in the 3 years of this podcast, I don't support any of it. The government is terrible. I trust no one.
Nonsense.
And this episode is going to go into that.
Love it so much. Okay.
Kara, did you ever go to summer camp?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I did too. I went to 4-H camp. I think I've told you all this before. From the time I was in 4th grade until the time I was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
I missed 1 year.
Oh, I love it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was my favorite.
Yeah.
I was so excited about it every year.
It smells like teen spirit.
My friends always went. I mean, I loved it so much.
Come back with a million bug bites and bruises. You know.
Yeah, and like crushes on boys.
Yes.
And all the memories you had with your friends and
nasty food, but you don't remember that.
No, I really truly don't. I do remember having like kitchen duty though, and having to be the cabin that cleaned up. Ugh, it was always the worst.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to talk about a kind of a type of a summer camp.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me get over.
Let's just.
Oh. That was a little much.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we good? Are we
Yep.
good?
Doing it? Are we doing it?
Do I seem? Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Are we recording? Okay. Everything's great.
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right. Bohemian Grove
Stop it.
is located in Sonoma County, California.
Oh, I love this so much.
I get angry.
Yeah.
It's a 2,700 acre campground, which serves as the annual meeting place for a group known as the Bohemian Club.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Bohemian, boho, all of those, that's like, I
Sounds
like
like
that.
fun and
that feels
whimsical.
great.
I want to go to
Fancy
this.
free. Yeah.
We're going to read some good rom-coms and we're going to. Yeah, no, you don't.
The Bohemian Club is a highly exclusive secret society for men whose membership.
It's a He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Oh, for sure. Which they're allowed to exist. So we did a whole rant on last week's episode about how we're mad at men.
You can have your clubs.
But there's problems. I don't have a problem with there being a club for men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got their clubs.
Yeah.
I just thought the hair club. The hair club for men. But they've got other clubs.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Totally
This
fine.
one is problematic to me. Okay. Its membership touts some of the richest, most powerful men in the United States. So it started as a private gentleman's club in San Francisco in 1872.
And I can imagine them just all sitting around with cigars, just shooting the shit.
Well, when it initially started, it was like a bunch of newspaper writers, and they eventually expanded to artists. And it was the Bohemian thing.
Yeah.
Made more
Was
sense.
that? Yeah. Back then.
And it has evolved into something different. But it originally rented the campground for an annual retreat before buying it in 1899.
That's wild.
So now, like I said, it started as a cluster of newspaper writers and eventually expanded to artists.
And you said it was thousands of acres, right?
2,700.
Okay.
Military leaders and politicians. A number of U.S. presidents have been members, including Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. Other members, I've already said that like 1,000 times about how it's like artists, musicians, prominent people, whatever. So members can invite guests.
Yes.
And they can also schedule private day use events at the Grove whenever it's not in use.
Uh-huh.
So they have these two or three. I read both. I'm not entirely sure which is right, but they have 2 or 3 main like encampments a year.
Okay.
And when it's not in use, members are allowed to bring to rent it out for the day, and they can bring spouses, family, and friends, but women and children aren't allowed to stay the night. Women have always been barred from joining. There have been a few honorary members, but I think the last honorary member died in 1927, honorary female member.
Women, yeah.
And she still wasn't allowed to stay the night. And I don't even know if she was allowed. I don't know if she ever visited. But anyway, whenever the last one died, there's not been another one.
They said we can't do this anymore.
A 1978 discrimination lawsuit forced the club to hire female employees. But even those employees are not allowed to stay the night.
Okay.
So to become a member, you have to be invited by several other members or sit on the very long waiting list. They said it could take decades.
That's so crazy.
And then there's a $25,000 initiation fee as well.
That's pocket change.
Which pretty much it ensures that like
yeah,
the members are of a certain status, right?
Right.
It's not necessarily surprising that there's a club for these guys. But what's more interesting is what goes on inside the club.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, we're going to picture the campground.
Close my eyes.
Redwood trees.
Beautiful.
There's an amphitheater with seating for 2,000.
Love it.
The Grove State is what this is called, and it's used for the Grove Play, which is put on during the last weekend of the Midsummer Camp. Now, before I get into this, I just want you all to remember, as I'm describing what goes on here and what they do, remember, we're talking military leaders, businessmen, cabinet members.
Putting on a play.
Politicians. Yes. Normally, I would be like, I love that.
What I am picturing is the Thanksgiving play at the summer camp with Wednesday Addams setting fire to things.
I mean, seems like maybe.
Yeah, we're close.
So the Grove Play, which is what goes on at that first amphitheater, is a large-scale musical theater production written and composed by club members involving some 300 people, including chorus, cast, stage crew, and orchestra.
That's so crazy.
It's fascinating. And like I said, part of me is like,
I want to see
it. Makes me happy that they're doing this whole like artsy thing.
Yeah.
There's another amphitheater called Field Circle, which is used for a musical comedy production in the middle of the Midsummer Camp.
Like military hair.
And they're like, musical comedy. Like, I'm
just
be multifaceted. Okay?
Love this for you. Love that you can be open and out there and doing fun things instead of just being in a stuffy office or whatever you're stuck doing or out in combat. But
yeah, you deserve to have a break. Right. That is not my problem. So like I said, the musical comedy production happens in the middle of the Midsummer Camp, which is in July.
I love it so much.
And it's also earlier, there's a camp in June that they call Spring Jinx, like high jinks, spring jinx. So they use this field circle both for that. So there's a campfire pit in the center of a circle, and this one is called Campfire Circle. It's surrounded by carved redwood log benches. It's a more intimate setting for smaller performances. So there's lots of stages and plays and that kind of thing going on.
This is your acoustic set.
And then there's another stage, the museum stage. It's a semi-outdoor venue with a covered stage, which they use for lectures and small ensemble performances.
Oh my gosh.
The dining circle seats about 1,500 people, and the clubhouse is a multi-purpose dining, drinking, and entertainment building which overlooks a river.
Can you imagine trying to coordinate that many people at summer camp?
No. That many men.
Oof.
That many grown men who are used to being the ones in charge.
Yeah.
Right. And lastly, Kara, there's the owl shrine.
Yeah.
And the man-made lake. I'll talk about the owl shrine later.
Yeah.
The main thing I want to remember about this is where the daily lakeside talks happen. And these are informal talks, many on public policy issues.
Okay.
Given by entertainers, professors, business leaders, astronauts, CIA directors.
Astronauts?
And future and former presidents.
Wow.
There's also sleeping quarters scattered throughout the Grove, divided into camps, and it's like they're grouped together.
Yes.
I think they said that as of 2007, there were 118 of those.
It's like going to Disney, but for a grown man's date.
Well, camp. It's interesting, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later, but like these men are grouped together, and this is where they sleep. So there's a lot of bonding that goes on there. I'll get into it.
No one was in the room when it happened.
That's my problem. No one was in the room where it happened. Mm-hmm. We'll get to it. So Bohemian Grove has a sophisticated security team year-round, employing ex-military personnel to secure the area. They also have sophisticated security equipment like thermal and night vision cameras, motion detectors, vibration sensing alarm systems. Oh my gosh. Cell phones and cameras are banned. Oh. So, with all the security and the secrecy, of course, there's lots of rumors about what goes on during these camps. Of course, with the high profiles of the men who are there, people want to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I am curious.
Over the years, several journalists... Over the years, several journalists have managed to infiltrate the camps, posing as members or as employees, and that's what has given us a glimpse of what goes on.
A little glimmer of hope. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Get this. During the first weekend of summer camp, robed figures sacrifice an effigy as part of a ritual meant to banish all worries from the members who are gathered there. And you just know these dudes would be the ones screaming witch back in the 1600s, right? And like, here you are.
That's what I was just
doing
thinking.
Witchcraft.
Right in your brooms.
Mm-hmm. Which is fun. I love it.
Sage in the area.
Let the women do it.
Yeah.
A former valet at Bohemian Grove said that the retreats were there involve a lot of partying, including alcohol, cigars, and hot chocolate spiked with horse tranquilizers.
Huh?
He said these guys don't want that college experience to go away, and he said the culture was like a frat house. Quote, now they just have more money and better alcohol. A 1989 article in Spy magazine called the encampment, quote, the most exclusive frat party on earth.
I mean, it sounds like it. A bunch of bros.
Listen, I cannot stress enough the number of times I read about how these men are just running around peeing in the redwoods. It is brought up.
The alcohol is so flowing through their systems that they have to pee every 10 minutes.
It's like it's part of the thing. Which
they're marketing.
I'm a girl.
Can you imagine? But I get the security guards being like, oh, "God, there goes Ronald pissing in the trees."
That's the other part of it that's so funny to me. It's these men, these like big, probably like leaders,
unbuttoned like shirts, all over the disheveled, forget to tuck in their
drunk, and
running around in their like, what are those little things that attach to their boxers and their socks or whatever they are? Pants off, but still in their dress shoes.
Keeps their socks. Yes. They even cite this as a reason why women and children aren't allowed to stay there overnight. Because the men are just running around dropping their pants because they got to pee everywhere. like
toddlers.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So that gives you an idea of the vibe here.
Great.
Now let's talk about a little bit more.
Okay.
These powerful men, leaders of the country, are meeting, and we don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Here's a quote. The thing we should be concerned about is the lakeside talks, activist Mary Moore told Vice in 2011. They are public policy talks where these powerful people discuss and choose policy, but it's all in secrecy with no public scrutiny.
So then they take it back to the table and they're like, guys, I had this idea. We're going to go with it.
The motto of the Bohemian Club is, quote, weaving spiders come not here, which is a line from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, basically saying that members are not supposed to worry about work or business deals while at the club. So when people start saying things like, hey, it seems weird that you guys are meeting in secret and possibly making these decisions that impact the country, club members are like, no.
We don't chat about that.
Listen to the motto.
Yeah.
We're specifically not doing that. Yeah, it says so. We're here.
We're having fun today. We're having fun.
We just turned that part of our brains off.
Yeah, we don't work anymore while we're here.
Here's a quote from the Bohemian Grove website.
Okay.
One of the exaggerated notions about the Bohemian Club is that it is a gathering and decision-making place for national and international power brokers. In fact, the club is a refuge from decision-making and other pressures. The club's motto, weaving spiders come not here, conveys the club's character and purpose as a social, avocational organization, conducting business is prohibited. Sure,
doesn't
Jan.
say strictly prohibited.
That sounds great, except that we know important political and business deals have been developed at the Grove.
Yeah.
It is said to be, let me say this first. There was a planning meeting for the Manhattan Project, which resulted in the dropping of 2 atomic bombs on Japan in World War II at the Grove. It is said to be where J. Robert Oppenheimer very first discussed the project. Mm-hmm. And at the meeting, besides Oppenheimer, Ernest Lawrence was there, which he was a physicist who he played a role in the success of the Manhattan Project. Mm-hmm. I read the science behind it, and I just decided we're just
gonna chat about it, and you can Google.
Just know that he figured something out that made it work. Along with, besides those 2, there were also various military officials, representatives from Standard Oil and General Electric, and the presidents of Harvard, Yale, and Princeton.
That's wild.
But this is not a business meeting, Kara.
No, we don't talk about that.
No.
Our lips do not ever speak. Our lips are
sealed. General Dwight D. Eisenhower and Richard Nixon were both members, and they stayed in the same camp inside the Grove. And then they would go on to make up the Republican ticket during the presidential election of 1952.
That's wild.
Nixon had been invited there initially by Herbert Hoover, former head of the FBI, and Hoover was a super active member.
Real active.
Mm-hmm. It's said that Nixon used his position in the Bohemian Club to launch his own successful run for president. In July of 1967, he gave a lakeside speech where he outlined his ideas on American foreign policy, and he got verbal confirmation from club guest Ronald Reagan that he wouldn't challenge him in the Republican primary that year.
It's like, hey, I'm Nixon.
Again, no business, Kara. No business here.
Nixon, running for president.
No business. No.
Dropping my trousers, running for president.
Yeah, gotta go pee. Ronald Reagan also gave a lakeside talk. I'm not entirely clear on what year it happened, but I think it was just after he left office.
Okay.
And in his speech, he called for 4-year terms for Congress members and greater regulation of the press.
No, we did.
No business.
No, we didn't talk about that there.
George H.W. Bush was a member, and in 1995, he gave a lakeside talk in which he introduced his son, George W. Bush, saying he would make a great president.
But I'm just saying this,
just casual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chit chat. I, said it to a friend over there, and I just love my son so much. It's not business at all.
There's also the issues of the relationships being made in those camps that I was talking about earlier. There's a bunch of groupings within spread throughout the camps where the men sleep. These camps are the principal means through which high-level business and political contacts and friendships are formed. So, for instance, George H.W. Bush was in a camp called Hillbillies. They all have silly names, right? And in that camp with him were top executives from Bank of America, General Motors, and Procter & Gamble. So you can't tell me that doesn't
this wasn't strategic.
Yeah. Decisions that he makes later.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the witchy side of all this, mostly because I'm sure these dudes would hate hearing me refer to it as such.
Yes.
The patron saint of Bohemian Grove is John of Nepomuc. I'm not sure. According to legend, he died at the hands of a Bohemian monarch rather than disclose. I think I added an extra word. Rather than disclose the confessional secrets of the queen. There's a large wood carving of St. John in cleric robes with his index finger over his lips. I'm going to say it again since I hit the mic.
Yeah.
There's a large wood carving of St. John in cleric robes with his index finger over his lips, standing at the shore of the lake in the Grove, symbolizing the secrecy kept by the Grove's attendees.
He's just like, shh.
Throughout its long history.
Wow.
Remember that owl shrine? It's the mascot, the owl. It symbolizes wisdom.
How many of those do you think have secretly tattooed the owl on themselves?
Oh my God.
What if?
I hope so.
I really hope so.
I'm just going to think.
Yeah.
Every time I see some powerful man on TV now, I'm going to be like, where's his secret owl tattoo?
Yep.
It's on his butt.
Yep.
All of them.
All of them.
Their pants are always down anyway. Because they're peeing. All right. The 30-foot hollow owl statue is made of concrete over steel supports. It stands at the head of the lake and serves as the backdrop of the annual Cremation of Care ceremony. It's a ritual. Stop trying to pretend you're not witches.
They're doing ritualistic things while gathering together
in the woods.
In a coven. I mean,
club. It's a club, Karen.
Yeah.
Not a coven.
Not a coven.
Remember, I mentioned this earlier, that they do this thing in robes and they burn.
Yeah,
whatever. Okay, so that's the cremation
Their
of care ceremony.
Attire.
Is a theatrical production, and it happens on the first night of the big summer encampment in July, to act as, quote, an exorcising of the demon to ensure the success of the ensuing 2 weeks.
Success, like you're going to have so much fun. We successfully made you forget about working.
They're definitely not working.
Not working.
They're not making any decisions.
No. They don't need to clear their minds to think about important decisions they need to make.
For several years, a recording of the voice of club member Walter Cronkite was used as the voice of the owl during the ceremony.
Love this so
I
much.
also love that. I think that is hilarious.
Yes.
I'm going to close this out with a glimpse inside the rowdier side of the Grove, as reported by some of the journalists who were able to infiltrate the organization. Philip Weiss snuck into the Bohemian Grove in 1987 and spent a few days mingling with the members as they attended speeches, boozed it up from the breakfast to nightfall, and urinated in the trees. Again, every article makes a big point of that. On Gawker, Sophie Weiner also described her own stint working as a dining server at the Grove in 2016. She described the retreat as a place where the elite could, quote, engage in behavior that doesn't usually fly for people of their stature in the regular world. The all-male club has successfully kept much of its activity and its member list secret over the years. There are roughly 2,600 active members and a sizable waiting list for admission, according to the club's website. And the only thing we can be real sure of is that none of them are going to be women.
Right.
And so the last thing I want to bring up about that, when you think about, there is this very exclusive secret society of men.
Yeah.
Here, let me say this first. I think the fact that they are this level of power, right?
Yeah.
I do understand the need to be able to like have a safe space to let go, because they probably never
for sure,
did it,
right? They can't even go to restaurants and enjoy themselves, right?
Because this country is ran by men. And now they have this secret society, this club, where women are not allowed to be.
Yeah.
Like, how does that impact the ability of the female leaders of this country to move up and become on the same level as them?
Yeah.
They won't allow the women
to drink the
to
Kool-Aid.
be a part of it, because we can't pee in trees as easy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just interesting to think about what impact that can have on why women aren't more represented in like political leadership in our country. Sure. It also makes me wonder how many decisions are made at Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
And then like presented to us as
That's
if
what I was about to say.
They're not made yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how many things
have been wrapped up, put a bow on it
before we ever even knew about it?
We have no idea it even exists. Yeah.
Or they all make the decision and then they come out and do it publicly again because they know it's going to pass because they've all got the support.
Yeah.
I wonder how many presidents have been chosen there.
Yes.
Without the input of the American people.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't trust the government. I'm going to turn into one of those crazy people.
You have like this huge list, like bankers, you have presidents, you have military members. Everybody's in cahoots.
Right. And I get really frustrated by the whole lobbyist system anyway, of how like, you know, I'll just complain about pharmaceuticals, right?
Right.
How they give so much money to these congressmen who will then support them instead of fighting for like maybe actually finding a cure.
Right.
Because then the pharmaceutical companies lose money. And like, this is an even deeper level of that. Like these people are like, it's like you're going to summer camp and sharing a cabin with your best buddies who also happen to be the most powerful men in the country in all these different industries. And you're going to make decisions to benefit your buddies.
Right. Exactly.
And maybe not the American people because those are your peers.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Those are the people you care about and run with and have to see every summer.
Yeah.
They're all in the club with you. It's a literal boys club.
Yeah. Yeah. Woof. Man.
And nothing will change.
No, because there's a long waiting list.
Yeah. It's been around since the end of the 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, just, it's incredible to me.
That's so wild.
So, this is just your reminder to like
go pee in a tree.
Pay attention, ask questions.
Yeah.
We love you
so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.